there, and welcome to another TalentCards walkthrough. When adding or uploading users into your TalentCards portal, you'll probably find that you need to store more information about these learners beyond their email address or phone number. You can do this by using the Custom Attributes feature. Once you've set up your custom attributes, you'll be able to use them to sort learners, assign card sets, and more. To create a custom attribute, log into TalentCards as an admin and navigate to the Users tab. Click on the Custom Attributes button and then click Add Custom Attribute. You can also access the custom attributes by expanding the left side menu. There are 4 types of attributes you can create in TalentCards. The first is a text field attribute. This type of attribute is good for storing information about users in the form of plain text. For example, you might create a text attribute called Notes, where you'll type specific info for each of your learners. The second type is a dropdown attribute. Dropdown attributes should be used when you have a predefined list of values that this attribute can take. For example, you might create a dropdown attribute called Department, with options such as Technicians, Customer Service, Sales, and so on. Or perhaps you'll create a dropdown attribute for Region, with options like North, South, East, and West. The third type of attribute is a checkbox attribute. This attribute is used for characteristics that take yes/no values. For example, you might have a checkbox attribute for permanent versus seasonal employees, or full-time versus part-time employees. Finally, the fourth type of attribute is the date and time attribute. This attribute should be used when the information you want to store about a learner takes the form of a date and time. For example, new hire date. Let's create a drop-down attribute together. First, give your attribute a name. Next, type in the values that this attribute can possibly take, hitting enter after each one. If you'd like to set a default value for this attribute that will apply to each new user you create, go ahead and select that option. Otherwise, leave this field empty. Underneath these fields, you'll see some more settings that you can apply to your attribute. If you mark an attribute as required, then each time you create a new user, you'll be required to select a value for this attribute. By default, new attributes are made visible on reports to help with filtering. If you'd like learners to be able to self-select or edit the value of this attribute for themselves, then go ahead and select Visible on Mobile. Otherwise, if only admins should be able to assign values of this attribute to learners, leave this box unchecked. Finally, if you'd like to have the values of this attribute sorted alphabetically, go ahead and select if you'd like them sorted in ascending or descending order. Once you've finished creating your new attribute, click Next. By default, the new attribute you've created will be applied to the group you're working in. If you have more than one group in your TalentCards portal, you can have this attribute be created in multiple groups. If you'd like it to be available across all groups in your portal, click the Make Global button. Otherwise, click Next. You've now created a new attribute in your TalentCards portal. From this list, you can edit or delete the attributes you have created so far, as well as filter by type or group. When you navigate back to your Users table, you'll see that your newly created attribute has been added to the table as a new column. To rearrange where this attribute will appear in the Users table, click the Manage Columns button. You can then drag and drop to reorder your columns. If you don't need this attribute to appear as a column in the table, go ahead and hide it. When you click on a user now, you'll see that this new attribute appears along with the rest of their info, and you can select a value for each user. Finally, you can assign card sets to users based on your attributes. Navigate to the Card Sets tab and click Edit Content on the set you'd like to apply specific assignment rules to. Then click Set Details and scroll down to the Assign section. Deselect the default setting that assigns the card set to all users, and then click on the Custom Attributes field. Select who this set should be assigned to based on the value they have for any of your custom attributes. To further automate the process of sorting users and assigning card sets, you can use your attributes to create dynamic teams in TalentCards. Go ahead and check out the TalentCards walkthrough video on how to work with teams.